You are now tuned in to the Addicted2Success.com podcast, where geniuses, entrepreneurs, and next-level game changers share their juicy little secrets on achieving massive success. This is the advice you wish you heard years ago. Be prepared and take note as we expose the realness and the raw of what it takes to be successful on Addicted2Success.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Addicted to Success podcast. I'm your host, Joel Brown, and today I have an amazing guest by the name of Eben Pagan, who started his online business alone in his bedroom with just a computer. He's also created a business around amazing products, courses, training. He's an amazing speaker. I've seen him at the Business Mastery event, and he never built a website. He never had sold a product before. He never set up a shopping cart or written an email newsletter. He started all this from scratch, and now he's launched over 10 different businesses that have reached over millions of dollars each in sales in many different niches. He started with just a dating advice ebook, and he grew his company of dozens of employees, all 100% virtual with no office. Eben was just explaining that he had just been traveling through Europe, and he was able to run his business perfectly the entire time without him even being there. So this is something that I know a lot of entrepreneurs are really striving for, to be able to be in that space where they can have that freedom, where they can have that autonomy. So Eben, I'm so excited to have you here today, man, and I really want to talk to you about how to take what you know, how to create a digital product with it, and how to build an online business around it. So Eben, thank you so much for having us here.
Hey, Joel. It's great to be here, man. Good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you, mate. The first time I came across your work was in the Business Mastery DVD collection. I wasn't actually able to be there in Vegas, but Tony Robbins really puts on those amazing events, and he had a great lineup, and one person that really stood out was you. And the reason why you stood out is because I had a feeling like you kind of understand the human mind, and then you also then went into how to actually market and also how to produce content that people love. So how did you start your online digital product business, and how did you launch 10 brands and businesses that did over 1 million in sales each? Because that's a pretty amazing feat.
Yeah, sure. Well, I think it's important, we throw around all these big numbers, and, you kind of have to know that I'm successful for me to have some credibility. But I think it's important to know that, I didn't grow up with any success models. I grew up in America here in the backwoods of a little place called Eugene, Oregon. I dropped out of high school. I have no, formal business education. I tried going to a little community college, and I dropped out of, the community college as well. I got an offer to go on tour with a rock band. And so I said, that sounds a lot more interesting than school. And, I'm really I'm basically a failed rock and roll guitar player that decided in my 20s, like, I need to go learn business so I can, have a better life. And after trying lots of things in business, because again, I had no one to teach me, I had no models. I tried being a real estate agent, and I tried being a guitar teacher, and I tried making jewelry and all these things. I had a part-time little marketing consulting business I was doing for a few years, and I was trying to figure out kind of my next move. I lost my last client, and I kind of had to make my next thing work. And I had seen what was happening online, but I didn't know anything about. I didn't know how to build a website. I didn't know how to set up a shopping cart. I didn't know how to build an email list or anything really about how to run an online business. But fortunately, I had a friend who he was selling a PDF book online, and he took me aside and he said, "Here, let me show you what I'm doing." And thanks to him having somebody who could show me, I wrote a book. It was a book of dating advice of all things. And I just, locked myself in my bedroom, wrote it in a few weeks. Then I taught myself, how to make a web page and how to set up a shopping cart and so forth. And, here and there, I just sold one or two books out of the gate as I was learning. But then, I started to do better. One day I, sold 10 books after a few months, and started realizing, wow, that was a $400 day for me, and I realized, wow, this could really turn into something. And I started creating other digital product courses, and that business became successful. And, this is a little bit of a generalization, but I essentially took that model and basically replicated it 10 times. When I started out, I was 31 years old. I was $30,000 in debt. As I said, I lost my last client, and I launched my first business with just a book, and it changed the direction of my life. It was a very significant change for me.
That's great. That's definitely a big 180 flip compared to where you were before, in the negative to now in the positive. So that's great, Eben. I actually want to ask you, so you built mailing lists, and you were actually marketing your PDF or ebook back then. Do you feel that ebooks do as well now, or are people looking for something else?
Well, it's an interesting question. Here are a couple of things to keep in mind. First of all, more than half of the world still isn't online.
Interesting.
Right? More than half the world still isn't online, and most of the people who are online, are in places in their life and where they're like, I don't know if I trust it yet. I don't know if I don't want to buy something. So, whatever works online is probably, going to work into the future. I mean, as long as you're not selling, buggy whips, and whatever, it's probably going to be okay, for a while at least, while everyone's still coming online.
Yeah.
And while everyone's just realizing that, you can buy things online. I mean, look at a company like Amazon, right? You'd have thought, intuitively, that they would have run out of steam a long time ago because, they kind of just sell everything and, I don't know. But look, they're growing, just leaps and bounds. Jeff Bezos is now one of the richest people in the whole world. Why? Because more and more people are coming online and they just need to buy the normal things. E-commerce is still just getting started. Now, to answer your question directly about the ebook, I've never really thought of my, little secret here. I've never really thought of my book as an ebook. I mean, we call it an ebook because it's an electronic book. You download it, you read it. But I've never, I don't know. I don't do 99-cent Kindle books or any of that kind of stuff. The way I think of it is I have valuable information. I package it up into a format that will be, easy for someone to learn and high perceived value. And then I try to sell it for what the information is worth, regardless of, the format that it's in. As I built my dating business, for example, I had my second kind of main product was an audio course that we sold for $200. And then we released a video version of that course that was $300, which, we still sell to this day, the ebook and the video course. And people would say to me, wait a minute, you sell a video course on dating for $300? It was almost, it's hard for people to believe, but I said, yeah, it's really high quality information. And if you think about it, let's say you're a man and, you're trying to figure out how the psychology of the opposite sex works, and you want to understand, how attraction works and, where to go on a date and what to talk about and how to flirt and all these things that for a lot of guys are not intuitive. If you're that guy, you don't want to waste hours and hours of your life and days and weeks trying to find free 5-minute clips online and read little things here and there, right? You want it all in one place. And there's a segment of that market who appreciates the value and would be glad to spend, $300. And now, now that I've created courses that are digital product courses that sometimes cost, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, I'm obviously a big believer. We sell these courses all the time. It's all about taking your knowledge, putting it into a format that's really high perceived value. It's not about an ebook necessarily. And, also I'll say I think this stuff's going to last for a long time. I don't think it's going anywhere.
Yeah, that's a great point. Why do you feel that entrepreneurship is so sexy nowadays, and it's really becoming more and more appealing to a lot of people?
Well, everybody's figuring out that there aren't a lot of different ways to really take control of your financial life. I figured this out when I was, in my 20s, as I mentioned, and I looked around and, I did my own little analysis, a 21, 22-year-old at this point, and who didn't have a lot of experience. But I just looked around and I said, all right, there are only a few ways that it seems like people really get, financially independent. They make money, they get rich, they get wealthy. They do it in business, they do it in real estate, they do it in investing. And then what are the ways that are available to me? I don't have $1 million. I just read that Donald Trump's son made a comment. My dad gave me a small loan of $1 million to help me get started. And it's like
wow.
A small loan of $1 million. Okay, perfect. I didn't have that dad. I grew up. My dad was on welfare and kind of thing, and so. I didn't have, most of us don't have that. And most of us don't have a lot of knowledge. Like, we're not insiders in the stock market. We can't get in and start investing and, making a lot of money there. We don't know how to do it. So the way that's available for most of us, and was certainly true for me, is starting our own business. Most self-made millionaires that are alive today didn't have anything when they started, and most of them made it through building their own business. And people are figuring that out, and the internet is helping to spread that knowledge. There's a record number of people starting their own businesses right now, okay, right now around the world. This is the time when there's the most ever that have been starting their own businesses. Technology and the great tools of the internet and computers, they're really empowering people. They're giving us tools that we can use that only big companies had in the past. And it's leveling the playing field in a lot of ways. It's spreading opportunity. All of a sudden, individuals sitting at their computer can actually have an advantage over a big company. It took me a while to get, but it turns out to be true in a lot of cases. And ultimately, we want to have control. We want to take control of our financial lives. We need to find an advantage somewhere that's available to an individual person. And I think that, honestly, that if you want to create the success you want in your life, if you want to take control of your income and get yourself up to that next level, for most people, a business is the best way to do it. And it's the best set of skills to learn to help you in all the other areas of your life right now.
Yeah, that's wonderful, Eben. And it's funny, I tell everybody, once you get that taste of freedom, you don't want to go back. Once you get that pain in the ass boss off your shoulder and you're able to travel, you have that freedom, that autonomy, man, that is key. That really is. You can become more creative. You can connect better with people. There's just so many more opportunities that you can take on board. It's amazing.
Yeah, once you learn the skills of business, once you learn about how to create a product that people want to buy, and they're buying the product rather than your time, and once you learn the basic skills of marketing, how to create an advertisement that does the work of helping someone buy something, that does the persuasion work for you. And like you said, you have the taste of that freedom. You essentially become unemployable after that. It's a paradox because, most of us would just not go back. If you came to me right now and you said, I'll tell you what, Eben, I've got this great job here working for this company. You're going to make twice as much money as you make right now. I'm just going to double your income. I'd say, no way. No way.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
Yeah. No, I agree. If someone came to me and said, I've got $100 million here for you, it wouldn't change my mind in any way. Not interested. Yeah. That's it. You got to leave that hamster wheel. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So I've marketed my own products. I created my own products and marketed it. I've got friends in my circle that are doing the same thing. But there's this one thing that keeps coming up with a lot of people where they're very worried about putting themselves out there or even their products out there because they feel like there's a lot of people being called scams, and you're going to cop a little bit of that, So how do you get around that?
Yeah, some of this is a mindset shift. One of the things that I like to say, I'm going to go down a little psychological rabbit hole here for a second. One of the things I like to say is every marketing project is an ethical dilemma. Okay? Every marketing project is an ethical dilemma because you have to make the decision inside of your own heart. How hard do I sell? How hard do I push? How much do I promise? How much persuasion do I use here? And I say that because, what a lot of people who haven't started their own business yet, what they don't realize is that when they create something that's really valuable, when they create a product that's better than what people can get everywhere else, when they create something for a group of people that's uniquely special, you realize, oh wow, I'm actually doing them a disservice if I don't go find them and talk them into getting my product, because my product is better. Right? We're all so used to mediocrity. We're all so used to, just having kind of average products and working with companies that don't really care about us, that when we find a product or a company that really cares, that really actually wants you to have a great experience, we say, oh, this is incredible. It's like when Steve Jobs, created the Mac. I remember my dad got a Mac when I was like 15 years old. He was trying to go part-time to school, and he brought home this box, and it had a disk drive in it, and the mouse and all that. And I remember using that, and I just couldn't believe it. This thing does everything. You could just go in there and like do page layouts and make flyers and write things and make them look good. And people fell in love with it. People saw the Mac and they said, wow, this company really cares. And they created loyal followers that were so loyal that even after Apple stopped innovating in the mid-'80s, these people stayed with Mac for 10 years on a system that wasn't evolving because, that energy that happened. And so what I invite you to do, if you've got that mindset, is, that you were talking about, is think about a future where you've created something that's really good for other people, right? That you really care about them and helping them get the result. And then think about when you do, your marketing and your persuasion, and you really convince them to buy the thing, you are going to run into some people who are skeptical. Okay, you're going to run into some people who are going to say, oh, I don't know if that's, the right thing to be doing, or I don't know if I like it that you're so successful. I mean, a lot of the problems we run into are the people that are our friends and our family. As soon as we start succeeding, they feel threatened, they feel envy, we start going and doing things in our lives that they wish that they could do. These are some of the challenges that you have to face. But what I've realized is that when you're successful, you can do more for other people. Okay, you can just do more for other people. We're doing a big product launch right now, and I released a series of free videos. And in the videos, I teach a lot of really great content. I tell my story. We also kind of, pre-sell some of the training that we're doing here. And out of, 1,000 comments that people made, or whatever the number is, almost all of them say, Eben, thank you so much. Like, this is so great. I've got something that actionable I can use, whatever. And then, every once in a while, you see a comment that says, whatever, stop showing off, that you're successful, and, go help some poor people.
Oh, it's the haters.
And it'll say that. Well, the thing is that person probably is really concerned about helping people who are not as successful. Now, what I don't have the chance to say in there is that I have helped a lot of poor people. I've raised a lot of money, many hundreds of thousands of dollars for different causes. And I've been able to do that because I have the time and the attention and the freedom and the opportunity to do it, But maybe even in a way that's like close to my heart, I've helped a huge number of people over the last, 15 years since I've built my business in my own life, people in my family, my friends of friends, people that have run into situations in their life where, they just need a little extra help in some way. And when you have the resources to help other people, it feels really good. It feels really good to be able to do that. So like I said, I went down a little bit of a psychological rabbit hole, but you start realizing, I think, that the criticism is worth it. I live in America. If you get elected president here in our country, what that means is that about half of the people in the country hate you. That's just what that means, is half of them hate you, and maybe half of them think that you're pretty good. But if you're gonna take the responsibility to be a success and a role model for others, just accept you're not going to be perfect. Other people aren't going to think you're perfect, but it's going to probably be better all the way around than if you don't take the initiative, and you don't create the life that you want.
Yeah, that's a great point, Eben. So the audience that's listening right now, they really love step-by-step strategies. And I know that you're great at teaching this. So I want to know, how do you actually make a digital product, and then how do you sell it online? Because I think this would be really great. We don't talk about this usually on the podcast. I think this would be awesome for you to share, if you could, please.
Okay, great. What I'm going to try to do is condense, a 3-month course into 3 minutes.
Good luck.
But what we'll do is, why don't we do this? I'll just kind of riff on this. So in our course that I teach, there are a couple of different sets of trainings. One of them is 5 modules that I teach live, where I kind of walk you through how to do all these things. And the first thing that we do is we target your product niche. And the second thing we do is we create your digital product. And then the third thing that we do is we create your conversion, your marketing piece. And then the fourth thing is we create your product launch. And then the fifth thing is we create your email follow-up system to automate when people come and get on your list. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll try to just give you a great little tip for doing each of those, right? So creating your product. The big mistake that most people make when they create a digital product, a book or an audio or video course, is they just do a data dump. Okay, they sit down and they say, okay, what do I know about this topic? And then they write it all down, or they get people in a seminar or on a webinar, and then they just talk about all the stuff that they know. The reason that this is a mistake is not because what you know isn't valuable, and it's not because it can't help people. It's because you don't want to start just with what you know. You've got to remember you're making a product here. You're creating something that you want people to buy, and ideally you're making something you want people to pay you a high price for, okay, the highest price possible, because it's worth it. Like, it's good stuff. You've taken your whole life to figure this out. Your story, your knowledge, your techniques, these are all really important things. So you want to frame it, you want to put it out there in a way so that your customers go, wow, that's really worth a lot, and they pay a lot for it. Okay, so what do people pay a lot for? Okay, well, they don't pay a lot for data dumps. They pay a lot to learn how to do the thing they're trying to do, okay, how to solve their problem. So for example, creating a dating advice program, right? I don't want to just sit down and do a data dump. I want to ask, what's the thing that is the most emotionally challenging, or the thing that's the most emotionally desired by, a single guy out there? And I want to make a list of those things, only those things that are really, really the pain points or the high desire points. And when I discipline myself to think in that way, that's when I come up with things like, a guy wants to learn to walk over and start a conversation with a woman that he's attracted to in a natural way without getting rejected and without making her angry, right? He wants to learn how to write an online personal ad that gets, an attractive woman to send him a reply, to introduce herself to him, right? He wants to know where to take a woman on a date so that she'll have a good time and that doesn't cost a lot of money. He wants to know how to flirt so that she'll laugh and she'll feel comfortable with him. These are the kinds of things that, that guy wants to know. Now, what I know as the person with the information is those techniques, they're kind of interesting. I mean, in the big scheme, they're a little piece of the puzzle. I know that he's got to work on his confidence and his self-esteem, and he's got to work on, the way that he communicates and his body. I know he's got to work on all these other things, but if I just start talking about that and I forget the things he's looking for, he's not going to be interested because I'm not talking to his pain point. So when I'm targeting my product niche, I've got to start with the things that he's searching for. So I start there. I narrow down my niche just to one of those things, and I use that as my kind of starting off point. Then to create the actual product, what I'll do is I'll make the outline based on those things that he's searching for, that he thinks are valuable, and maybe I'll write down 7, 8, 9, 10 of those things, and I'll make those my sections of my program. Okay, and then what I do, so those are 2 steps that I take. Then after I take those 2 steps, third, or after them, then I do my data dump. And I ask, okay, what's all the knowledge that I have, and how can I fit it in between all those other things so that I kind of sneak in the nutrition, in with the tasty thing. My mentor, Jerry, when I was younger, he used to have a great metaphor. He said, if you're trying to give a dog a pill, okay, so let's say you've got a big dog like a German Shepherd, and you need to give him a pill because, the vet said you have to give him a pill. You have 2 ways of doing it. You can either try to pull his jaws open with your hands and then stick the pill down his throat and then hold the jaws closed while he swallows it, which sounds very dangerous, okay? Mm-hmm. Or you can take a little piece of hamburger meat, and you can stick the pill inside and show him the hamburger meat, and he'll get all excited, and you just throw it down his throat, and he swallows it, and it's gone. I'm not, I'm not saying to be sneaky here. I'm not trying to encourage you to do anything that's dishonest or inauthentic. But what I am suggesting is when you say to a guy, hey, I'm going to teach you the magic 7-word pickup line, that guarantees you won't get rejected, that's what grabs his attention. And then while I'm teaching him the pickup line, if I also say, hey, by the way, there are a couple of things we need to work on in your confidence, and let me talk to you about those too, it's a lot more palatable, And so that's how you make your product outline. The next thing you need to do is create a marketing piece that does the selling for you, because online you can't talk to every person that comes to your website. You don't want to just put your phone number there and say, call me, because then you'll just be talking to people all day and trying to talk people into buying your product. And that doesn't work. So when you create your conversion piece, what you have to do is you have to go back to this list of things that you've identified that are the emotional hot buttons, the trigger points, and you want to, again, make an outline based on those so that you can talk about what's in your product, inside your digital product that solves the problem. And you want to also do something very special, which is you want to tell your story. Okay, now, I can't go into, obviously we can't go into all these things. Each of these is like a multi-hour training, but you want to take a few minutes and you want to talk about your story, about how you learned what you know, so that the person who's thinking of investing in your product can get to know you, and they can say, oh, I can relate to where you're at. You noticed earlier I told a little bit of my story. I wanted to make sure that you knew that I was a real person, and that this just, I didn't just luck into this. This wasn't just handed to me. And hopefully there was some part of it that you said, okay, real person, I could relate to where you're at. All right, now we're good. Let's keep going. So there's 7 parts to telling your story, but you want to just basically do that. Give your customers something that they can relate to. Tell them how you discovered what you know. Then introduce your product. Talk about some of the benefits and the outcomes that they'll get. Take away the risk, for investing in it. Ask them to buy, add some bonuses, some other things. Then the 4th thing I mentioned here is doing a product launch. And we've done a lot of product launches in our day. We used to do them in one particular way, but then I met Jeff Walker, who created the product launch formula, who's now a good friend. And he really fine-tuned and took my whole thinking about product launches to the next level. And what you do in a product launch, one of the things that I've brought to the equation is you want to take your best idea, whatever it is that is the most valuable to people, that can help them get the best results, and you want to create something that you can give away to them. Okay, so you want to create like a free PDF that they could download, or maybe a free audio, or maybe a little video, or a screen cam like PowerPoint or keynote presentation with you talking over it, or a little webinar, some kind of little content. It could be just maybe 15 or 30 minutes long, that's got your best idea in it. And here's the trick: you're going to give it away. You're not going to sell this, you're going to give it away. Some people call these lead magnets or opt-in magnets, these kinds of things. And what you do is you put up a page on your website that says, if you will opt in to my list, I will give you this thing for free. Okay, that's the little ethical bribe that you use. And you want to make sure it's your best thing, so that it's really valuable. And, I call this move the free line. And this phrase is kind of caught on in our internet marketing community. So you want to create that. You want to give that away when you're doing your product launch. This way, other people who have lists of subscribers and customers who might be interested in your product, they see this free thing you're giving away and they say, you know what, this is great. My audience would love this. And I'd feel proud to tell them to come check this out. And then you can build a list and you can start following up, and you can do your product launch to that list. And then very importantly, and this is critical, I said the 5th thing that I teach people how to do is build an email follow-up campaign. We're pretty well known for our email autoresponders. And what I've learned here is that when someone opts into your list, they most of the time, they don't know you, they don't trust you, they don't like you. And it's not that they dislike you or they distrust you. They just don't know you yet. They don't know who you are or what you're up to. So you have to build a relationship. In the old days, we would do that in person, but now we can, again, automate a lot of this with email follow-ups, and we can do interviews with people and make audios. We can do little videos. And so you follow up with email to build a relationship. One of the things that most people still, they don't even know it in the first place, and a lot of people who do know it have forgotten it. In our world of digital products and product launches, most of the sales that are made, okay, most of them are still made by email. It seems like an old kind of low-tech way of doing things, but the bottom line is email is business communication. That's how we think of it. And so if you're going to buy something or you're going to sell something, you want to think about using email. And creating a great email follow-up sequence I think it's not optional if you want to be profitable. I think that if I just did everything the same in my business, created the same products, did the same marketing, same everything, but I didn't use email follow-up systems, I would lose about 80 or 90% of my business.
Wow.
Okay, so it's really important. And so the mindset to use when you do an email follow-up system is that you're building a relationship. Okay, you don't go for a one-shot sale. You think about, what would someone want to know who's getting to know me and my business and my product for the first time? And you send them some information and you say, hey, here's some information about me. Here's some stuff about how to solve your problem. And then you just keep following up. Just like you would if you were building a friendship, except in this friendship, you're putting in an extra scoop of high value teaching, training, education every time you do it. And when you put in that extra scoop of education for the person, they become more comfortable, they build trust, they learn why it's important to buy your digital product. Okay, I probably did more than a few minutes there, but hopefully you get the point.
Eben, look, mate, I really appreciate you sharing this value. I feel like the amount of value that we just got then, that's like way over delivering, right? I know that you've got your videos out right now because I've actually watched the, how to take your big idea and turn it into a digital product and so on. So you've got those videos and we can share that with the audience, no problem. We'll share the link here on the podcast. So after watching these videos, I feel like I had so much value that I was like, what else is there left for you to share with me? So what can people expect if they're to dive deep into the digital product blueprint course?
Sure. Well, as you can see, right, so you scratched on that one thing there, like how do you take your information and put it in a digital product, and you can see that there's a lot there. Just right there, there's a bunch of stuff. There are probably like 6 or 8 things you could take immediately and go and apply them. Building a business, right, it's a little bit more of a complex machine. There are more steps to it than meet the eye. And after many years of not knowing these steps and having businesses that didn't work out, but also being interested in figuring out what the steps were, I figured it out. I got one of these businesses to really work. And then I took that and I replicated it and I did it over and over. We've said now I've done this 10 times. I built 10 different brands and businesses that have done $1 million in sales. And I've also consulted with a lot of very successful businesses and taught a lot of very successful businesses now. And so I'm looking for the patterns and I'm trying to find that perfect balance of learning the things that you need to learn in order to build your business, but not being, overwhelmed or getting too into the weeds and teaching some little aspect of business that you don't need to know anything about. So inside of the Digital Product Blueprint course, for example, we've got a few different types of trainings, right? The Digital Product Blueprint itself has 2 aspects. One of them is the 5 modules that I just explained. So over 90 days, every couple of weeks, we're going to get on a live webinar where I'm going to take each of those areas that I just spent like 1 or 2 minutes talking about, and we're going to go in for about 90 minutes. And when you hear me talking about them, you're going to have the same experience of the level of value of what I'm saying, except instead of giving you like one little step, you're going to probably get like 9 or 10 different things like that will help you target your product niche and create your product and build your marketing conversion piece and do your product launch and do your email follow-up system. Okay, so imagine what just happened, but breaking it up so that you have time to do it. I'm going to give you exercises and I'm going to give you templates and blueprints so that you get, the best starting points. And then I'm going to walk you through how to use the tools. And so that's one part of the Digital Product Blueprint is the live trainings. You also get to ask me questions and, kind of be involved with the group. The other side of the Digital Product Blueprint course is I've got a series of 12 blueprint trainings that I've made. And these are video trainings that are really focused on little pieces of each of these puzzles that are the 12 most important pieces that you need to learn. And each one of them has a blueprint or an exercise. You watch these videos and then you do the exercises. And this section is a little bit more learn at your own pace, okay? Because there has to be a piece of this where, if you're more advanced and you want to go faster, you can just dive right in. So those are the two parts of the Digital Product Blueprint course itself, just really teaching you how to make your product and market it online. In addition to the Digital Product Blueprint, we've got a few really amazing bonuses because I only do a launch like this. Right now, it's been every couple or few years I teach one of these classes. And so we're open for a few days. We're registering a new class. We're actually going to start teaching the class next week, just in a few days here. So that's why we're only open for registration for a few days. Helps us get everyone in, everyone organized, everyone on the same page. So I offer some really great bonuses. So one of the bonuses that I offer is my best marketing course, and it's called Marketing Step by Step. And the reason why I want you to have this course is because just like I said that these 5 things I talked about, each one of them unpacks into a bunch of other areas that you really need to learn a lot about. I think most entrepreneurs or people starting in business, especially online, we have an intuitive sense that we need to learn marketing. Okay, we just somehow we have this intuitive sense, I need to learn marketing. If I learn marketing, I'm going to have a superpower. And you know what? That's right. You do need to learn marketing. If you don't have the marketing skills, it's really hard to do all the other things. And so to give you that, I've got my best marketing course, and I've created lots of courses with marketing in them, but this is the best one I've created that just has all of my tools, all my best ideas. It's a whole video course that's me teaching. I walk you through a section, and then I walk you through a tool or an exercise to actually implement it in your life, in your business. And you will finish this course and you will have marketing confidence. You'll know how to sit down and start creating a marketing piece or an email follow-up system or writing a headline or writing a piece of content right from scratch. You'll have a better education than most people that I've learned, or most people I've known who learned at college, like who have an MBA kind of thing. That course, it's super valuable all by itself. The next bonus that we give you is a course called the Tech Tool Trainings. This is a series of 12 live trainings that we do with you, where we walk you through how to set up all your technology tools. Some people are intimidated by the technology. So you get on these classes, we do one a week, and you tune into the ones that you need to tune into. If you want to set up a website, you get on the class and you step by step, click by click, you get walked through how to set up a website. If you want to set up a blog, okay, here's how to do it. If you want to set up an email autoresponder system, if you want to set up a shopping cart, an affiliate program, if you want to, do all these different things that you're going to need to do to build your business online, we've got specific trainings. You learn the 12 most important technology tools. So we're going to give that as a bonus as well. And finally, I also include my best course on productivity. It's called Wake Up Productive. Over the last 15 years building my business, I realized in the middle of that I really needed to do something with my productivity. I dove in and spent a lot of time studying this, got some new mentors, and ultimately created this course. It's actually one of our better courses all by itself. It's a very successful course. It's a 90-day training. You watch a video when you start, you do a few exercises, and then once a week during our 90 days together, you watch a video that's about 20 minutes long, and then you use what you learn in your life and in your business. And my guarantee is that if you go through this course, you do the homework, you will double your productivity. Okay, and I guarantee it. You'll actually double your productivity. A lot of people say, well, I'm already working too much. I mean, how do you do that? And the reality is, we're all working a lot right now. What we have to do is we have to reduce the distractions and interruptions. Okay, we have to first eliminate distractions and interruptions, which we have some techniques for. And then we have to make it a habit to do the high value things in our business. It has to be automatic. We can't remember to do it. We have to train ourselves. And in Wake Up Productive, we literally install 2 habits. Okay, 2 habits in your life, one in your personal life, one in your business life, over 90 days. Okay, can you install 2 habits in your life over 90 days? And if you will, you'll double your productivity. And this course was designed by me, and I have a digital product business, so it's really optimal for someone who's an entrepreneur, especially if you're an online entrepreneur. I mean, it works for people across industries, but it's really great for this. And so you get that course as well. We also have, so I'll mention one other thing here too, which is we've got a couple of different ways of investing in your tuition. You can actually get started today for only $197. Okay, and then we've got a payment plan after that. But if you'd rather pay your tuition in full, which I highly recommend you do, you also get a couple of more advanced courses of mine, one on creating an advanced information, a digital product, and one on advanced traffic psychology. Each of these are amazing video courses that I created. You'll see me and a lot of other digital product gurus, some famous people from our world, both attending the course and helping me teach. These two courses were filmed at the highest end training I've ever done. It was $6,000 to $12,000 a year just to be part of this training. And these are two of the programs that we made there. Again, one is an advanced course on creating a really powerful digital product. It's really good for creating maybe your second digital product if you want to create a high-priced, or a high-ticket digital product, because we dive into, all the psychology of how to identify the most, really detailed motivators in your client. And then the other one, is I call it my traffic intensive program, where it's the psychology of getting traffic, but it's also the psychology of approaching other people that have big lists and partnering with big companies. We've partnered with a lot of big companies that most people would think are kind of untouchable. And I go into that in the course. Again, it's me teaching these courses. They're great, high-quality video courses. They were filmed at this program that was $6,000 to $12,000 a year. And you get both of those courses as another bonus if you choose to invest in the tuition in full. So got some great bonuses. And if you're, if now is your time, if now is the time for you to create a book or a digital product, join me for the digital product blueprint. I want to show you this stuff. I want to help you do this. We've got a great guarantee. We've got a 100% guarantee. If you go watch our information video, you'll see more about this. But definitely join me.
Oh, Eben, that's amazing, mate. Thanks for all that insight into all your training and products. I actually started the Wake Up Productive 2 course a couple months back, and it's an absolute game changer. So I can definitely vouch you on that one. That one's amazing.
Oh, good. I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Yeah, it's like easy to follow exercises and everything, so I can implement it straight away. So there's a lot of people on this call right now that are into creating new habits and structuring their day. So this course, out of all the ones I've been a part of, is the best for sure, hands down. Yeah, beautiful, awesome. So anybody that is interested in going deep with Eben Pagan's digital product blueprint course, you can just head over to digitalproductblueprintaccess.com/A2S, and that's A, the number 2, and then S, and you will see the exclusive Addicted to Success members only page and information video from Eben Pagan himself. Eben, thank you so much for being a part of this show with us. I'm just stoked that you're here sharing your advice with the A2S community. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, great talking to you, Joel.